Hello, honor students. Happy Monday. All right, so everybody should have a copy of these notes. I do not want you to glue them in your notebook yet. We're going to set up your second quarter table of contents when I get back tomorrow. So for now, after you fill these in, just keep them in your folder and we will glue them in tomorrow. All right, so this is the beginning of a brand new unit about ratios. So if you're looking for anything on Schoology, we are now in a new folder. It'll be called Ratios and Rates. So let's start by looking at the definition of a ratio. So a ratio is pretty simple, just a comparison of two numbers. There are three different ways to write a ratio. So let me show you what this looks like. For example, if you look at this picture, it says, what's the ratio of monkeys to bananas in the picture? So first is the monkeys, so there are 4. Next is the bananas, so there are 5. So you could say the ratio of monkeys to bananas is 4 to 5. That would be word form. You could say the ratio is 4 to 5 with a colon. A colon is just 2 dots in the middle. Or you could say the fraction, 4/5. If you read these out loud, though, they all would be 4 to 5. So that's a 4 to 5 ratio, that's a 4 to 5 ratio, and that is a 4 to 5 ratio. The order of a ratio is very important. So, for example, if it asked you for the ratio of bananas to monkeys, that would be different. You'd have to put bananas first. So you'd have to put 5 to 4. So you got to read the order of the ratio. Okay, so two ratios that have the same value are called equivalent ratios. You guys should know the word equivalent means the same or equal. And you can multiply or divide both parts of a ratio by the same number to find an equivalent ratio. So it's basically like equivalent fractions. Let me just show you an example real quick. Like if you had, I don't know, let's use 4/5. So 4 to 5 ratio. You could double it to make it 8 to 10. And those would be equal. You could, I don't know, I could take this one and multiply them both by 3. That would be 24 to 30. That's equivalent to all those. I could multiply these by 10, 240 to 300. So all of these ratios simplify back down to 4/5. So if I gave you a ratio like 12/20, you could simplify that like a fraction. So let's see, both of these are divisible by 4. So you would simplify that to 3/5 or 3 to 5 ratio. So you always want to put your answer in simplest form when possible. All right, so if we look at this example, a punch recipe calls for 3 cups of cranberry juice for every 2 cups of apple juice. Fill in the table of equivalent ratios. All right, so I guess if you're just making one batch of juice, you need 3 cups cranberry, 2 cups of apple. But if you want to double the recipe, you would use 6 cups of cranberry, and then you would have to use 4 cups of apple. So you double both of the amounts to keep the ratio equivalent. And then if you want to triple the original recipe, you would go back here. So 3 times 3, that would be 9 cups of cranberry, and 2 times 3 would be 6 cups of apple. If you want to quadruple the recipe, go back and here. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. And if you want to multiply by 5, 3 times 5 would be 15, and 2 times 5 is 10. So all of these would make the same exact punch. It's just equivalent ratios. You're just making more punch. And you can probably notice the patterns. The top is counting by threes and the bottom's counting by twos. So every time you add 3 cups of cranberry, you got to add 2 cups of apple, or else it will taste different. So that's an example of equivalent ratios. Let's look at a couple more practice problems. This one says find the missing number to make each pair of ratios equivalent. So if you look straight across on this one, you can think, what does 7 multiply by to get 42? And then you'd be like, okay, times 6. 7 times 6 is 42. And then you just do the same thing to the top. So 4 times 6 is 24. So those are equivalent ratios, 4 to 7 and 24 to 42. And then these ratios are written in word form. I like to write them as fractions because it's just easier to line it up. So I'm going to do 1 to 3 equals 12 to blank. And then you can do the same thing. Go straight across. I know 1 times 12 is 12. And 3 times 12 is 36. So 1 to 3 is equivalent to 12 to 36. All right, let's try a word problem. It says the ratio of red to green Skittles in a bag is 4 to 5. If there are 20 green Skittles in the bag, how many red Skittles are there? All right, first thing is you need to pay close attention to the order. It says red first, and then it says 4. So that means red is 4. Then it says green is 5. So I'm going to write that down. I like to label it. So I'm going to do a 4 to 5 ratio. I want to make sure I know the 4 is red and the 5 is green. And then it says if there are 20 green Skittles in the bag, how many red Skittles are there? So we're going to set up an equivalent ratio. Since it says 20 green Skittles, that means we need to put 20 on the bottom to line up with the 5 green. And then we're trying to figure out the missing number on top of red Skittles. So this is pretty simple. You can see that 5 times 4 is 20. So then 4 times 4 would be 16. So there would be 16 red Skittles. All right. So once you've got all that filled in, you guys are going to be working on slides. So you're going to go to Schoology, click on Monday Slides. Just do your best. I know I'm not here and this is brand new, but I think you guys will be okay. So do your best on the slides, submit them when you're done so I can see how everyone's doing. And then you can grab a homework from my desk and start working on it. So that's pretty much it. If you guys want to check out Schoology for the lesson video for today, that might help. That's a little bit extra if you feel like watching that. Or you could go to the extra practice folder. Or I'll be back tomorrow. So we'll keep practicing this tomorrow. So don't worry too much about it. All right, just make sure you get your homework done by tomorrow. And then we'll get your notes and table of contents set up tomorrow also. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.